Hello, everyone, and welcome to our FoxNews.com digital debate special, the Fox News Google Republican debate. I'm Melissa Francis, along with Kennedy, Charles Payne, Meghan McCain, and Tom Shalhoub. Well, sparks were flying during the early GOP debate, the final one before the Iowa caucus just 4 days away. Carly Fiorina, Mike Huckabee, Rick Santorum, and Jim Gilmore squared off in Des Moines, each making their case to the GOP president to be the GOP presidential nominee. So who came out on top? Here's a glimpse at some of the fireworks from tonight's face-off.
What Iowans deserve is to hear from every candidate on an equal footing. Had they applied the same rules 4 years ago, I would have been in the undercard debate. The guy who won the Iowa caucuses would have been in the undercard debate.
And I will say this to you, as the only veteran in this race, when I become president of the United States, the veterans are going to be treated with respect and competently and success in the Veterans Administration in this country.
Newsflash, President Obama. Newsflash, Mrs. Clinton. Climate change is not our most pressing national security threat. Actually, it is ISIS, followed closely by Iran.
I resent it when people say, oh, people are poor because they want to be. No, they're not. Nobody wants to be poor. And that's a stupid, foolish thing, mean thing to say. People are poor because they don't know how to get out of the hole.
Gun control is not going to be an issue. If gun control comes to the president's desk when I'm president, I'll veto it as fast as it takes Hillary Clinton to eliminate her emails.
Woo! All right, let's bring it out to the panel. They were furious, it seemed. I mean, do they know ABC's not even having an undercard debate? These people were furious to be in the undercard.
Yeah,
what was that?
They were really upset. It's their last gasp, and I think they all treated it with the wrong tone. I think everyone came out kind of angry, and that comes off as desperate. We're 3 days before votes are cast in the Iowa caucuses, and this is the time to be hopeful. This is the time to be confident, and there's a fine line between being competent and being petulant. And I think Rick Santorum totally crossed that line in the beginning. He's had this tone in some of the other debates. Yeah. But at this point, I just want to say, Rick, you don't have a shot this year. Knock it off. It's not 2012. If you've got a vision, lay it out competently and with optimism. He didn't do that.
You know what? Let's listen to the soundbite that you're talking about because people have to hear it to believe it. Let's play it.
Is Monday night your last stand?
You know, listening to what your network was talking about prior to this race, this debate, reminded me of the coverage that many on this floor are getting. This debate was called the undercard debate. The undercard debate. It wasn't advertised significantly. In fact, the entire hour lead up to this, there was no conversation about any of the four people on this debate stage. And that is the chronic situation.
Meghan McCain.
Can I say so? I mean,
I was sitting with you when this was playing live, and you were furious. You were like throwing spitballs at the television. What is that?
Running for president and being on the undercard debate stage is a privilege. You are on a platform in front of the entire American public to send out your message, and these are all candidates that are standing there, with the exception of Carly Fiorina, acting like petulant children. On top of everything else, you want me to take you seriously, that you think you're going to become president? Why are you going and hanging out with Donald Trump in an hour, okay? I'm not taking anything you're saying seriously. And they sounded so angry and so upset. And to sort of go after Fox News right now seems particularly tone deaf and angry. And there's a reason why everyone standing on that stage, except for Carly Fiorina, should be standing on that stage, and they're going to lose.
Yeah. What did you think of it,
Charles? He's talking about the undercard. Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, I think Rick's in. It looked like roid rage to me. I mean, it's like, golly, my man, what the heck? It's really good. We could have called it the kids' table, but no one did. No. But he certainly acted like it was. And this whole thing, I understand, taking on the media has been a great narrative for these candidates. Yep. Narrowing it down in the last few days to Fox has been a pretty good thing. But, again, how are you going to be a great president? And I got to tell you something. They hit all the hot buttons, but they still didn't explain anything to me. For instance, Rick Santorum, they're going to bring manufacturing back. We're going to be #1 in manufacturing.
Right.
You know, Foxconn, which is the largest manufacturer in China, the average person there makes $4,000 a year. So you got to explain to me, when we bring those jobs back, how we're going to take those from $4,000 a year jobs to $40,000 a year jobs. Stop lying to the American public to win votes and give us some real economic policies if you want to be adult about it and forget about all the other shenanigans.
All right. Tom Shalhoub.
But who's going to have the guts to say that? Like, who was the last politician to say they're not coming back? Didn't someone once say that?
No,
the jobs not that they're not coming back.
Not that they're not coming back, Tom. But how do you bring them back?
It's specifically manufacturing jobs.
Right. So today, for instance, factory orders came in. Down dramatically. I mean, it was huge, the amount that is down. Why? Because of policies, regulations, tax policies. There's a way that you can articulate this to the American public, but I think, I don't know, I just feel like it was pandering and hot buttons, and I don't know that they got anywhere so that they can elevate themselves from the so-called undercard table.
No, and that sort of economic isolationism, it's incredibly naive. My husband has a factory. My husband's in manufacturing, and, I'll tell you, it's an uphill battle. And, they do it because they don't have they're too small to have the kind of quality control necessary that they would have in a factory in China. Sure, they could make their snowboards cheaper there, but they would also snap in half, and they have the kind of oversight. But that's a choice. And when you're taking choices away from Americans and pigeonholing them and telling them exactly where and how, that's as bad as Bernie Sanders saying that we're going to have single-payer health care. The sort of isolationism, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, what Megan was saying, what do you think? What about Huckabee? I didn't think he was particularly angry. I thought he played it pretty well because he used the famous Huckabee humor, and he seemed to be a little more laid back. I felt like it was interesting that you said Carly, aside from Carly, because she used the famous Carly anger, but I thought she used it to her advantage. When she said newsflash, and then she got an applause. It was she said that
ISIS is our number one threat.
Yes.
Yeah,
and so I think, I don't know about everyone else, but I think Carly knows how to use the anger and make it seem like passion. But for some reason, Santorum can't do that.